Good morning everyone. My name is Tattva Shah and this is the video presentation for our capstone project. I'll start with a brief introduction for our project. Our project name is GradFor and the team members are Tattva Shah, Naman Shah and Jainam Suthar. The technology which we use to develop GradFor is for the front end we used React.js and for the back end we used Node.js, and in Node.js we used Express library. For the database, we initially started with MySQL, and then later, according to the requirements, MongoDB was a more preferable one. So currently, all our data is stored in our MongoDB. Okay, so the scope of our project was initially it was just to build a platform where all the international students can register themselves and look for the information of all the schools and all the courses of it, and also apply from our portal. So initially it was designed with the idea for all the students to apply in all the schools from a single platform rather than going to each individual websites of the school and applying from there. And later, as we started developing the project, we also thought to add recruiter and school panel where they can also register themselves, and the data which the school provides, it can be used by the students and the students can apply to the school and school can manage all the applications which they receive. So the student will be able to see the application status, all the courses that he applied to, his profile, his IELTS score, his CGPA, his visa status. So all this data is filtered and the results are produced. So how the application works is, from our front end pages, as the user clicks on any apply button, let's say, it will call the API from our backend, and our backend will interact with the database and fetch all the data and provide it to the front end. Okay, so let me start with the database design. So this is the database design, which consists all the tables, all the primary and foreign key that are necessary, all the columns which are necessary for the students, recruiter, college, all the courses, eligibility conditions, etc. We do have few other tables like province and some other tables which we use for filtering the data. Okay, let me show you the front end and back end. So this is our front-end application where we have mentioned all the routes which is used to switch between the pages. This is our backend routes for the API. So let me start the backend server. Okay, so it's saying GradFor running on port 5000 and database launch, which means it's connected to the database. And let me start the front-end pages. Okay, so currently our application is running on localhost, but we also have our application deployed on Heroku, which is a free hosting website. So this is our front end and back end, and this is the URL which we get currently. It does take some time loading up the application because it has to grab all the back end as well as the front end components, and there we go. So this is our welcome page for our application. Okay, so on this application we are still waiting for the content which will be provided by our project sponsor. So currently we have just used static contents for, let's say, about us, our team and all the services which we provide for students, recruiter, and school. And the individual will start from my account, which will be registration and login. So if it's a new user, they can sign up, filling out the information and deciding the user type, if they are a student or a recruiter or a school. Okay, so I already have created a user. We'll start with the student dashboard. Sign in. So this is the dashboard for the student. Uh, Here he'll get some options to see his profile, browse the schools, see all the applications that he submitted, the status of it, and finally log out. So this is my dashboard, which gives me latest application page, which is directly coming from database. This will give the latest report, whether the application was submitted successfully or whether it was reviewed by the school or whether it was rejected or confirmed. So if you go to profile section, we'll be able to see all the information of the student, including his IELTS score, his CGPA, which is directly coming from our database. So this is our student table, and our backend is fetching all the data from here and providing it to the front end. So a student can also make changes to this course. And let's go to browse schools. So this will give the list of all the schools. Currently we only have Humber College, as we are not allowed to scrap data from other colleges. So we are just using Humber College right now, and just with static data. So this will provide the basic information of the college, the address, the province where it is located, contact number, and of course all the courses which the college provides. Okay, so currently he is able to see only one course because he's only eligible for one of the course. So the eligibility comes in minimum IELTS and minimum CGPA. So here the minimum IELTS score is 6 and CGPA is 3.8, and the student already has 4.2 and enough IELTS score, so he's eligible for it. So he can directly go to courses, he can see the information of the course and directly apply to it. So as soon as I click the apply, the application will be submitted and the school individual will be able to see the application and the student and the profile of the student. So if I click apply, it will redirect me to the home screen and it will say the application is already submitted. And if we see in our database in applications, we'll be able to see the student ID and the course ID which he registered to and the date and time. So once the student is done, he can directly log out and it will redirect him to the login page. So this was the student dashboard, and let's find out what is it in recruiter and school dashboard. Okay, so we'll try login as a recruiter now. I have already created a recruiter and I'll show you the database first before I log in. So you'll be able to see the recruiter table and the one recruiter which I already created, and the recruiter ID is associated to one of the student. So basically this student is associated with that recruiter. So in the recruiter dashboard we'll be able to see the student details as well. Recruiter ID here. Okay, so let me log in, and yeah, so this is the recruiter dashboard. With home profile, the recruiter will be able to browse schools. I will be able to see the applications submitted, list of students which are associated with the recruiter, and log out. Here you will be able to see the latest application done by him and the report, whether it was confirmed or rejected or the status of the application. So if I go to profile, the recruiter will be able to see all the information and the organization name. And if I go to students, he'll be able to see the particular students who are associated with that particular recruiter. So as we saw in the database, this student is associated with the particular recruiter which we logged in. So we'll be able to see his data as well. And there's one more thing apart from dashboard, which is the security. So anyone can just copy the URL and paste it and access the data, right? So it won't allow it. This happened because of the JWT token which we created while we log in. So let me show you the backend. Okay, so this is the backend and this is the route which we call when we log in. So as soon as I hit the login button, it will call the auth, which is the middleware for authentication, which basically creates a session for the user until the user logs in and until he logs out. As soon as the user logs out, the JWT token is destroyed, and as soon as the user logs in again, a new JWT token is assigned. And we are also storing the password which we take during the registration. And let me show you registrations. Okay, so email is this, and password we are encrypting using the bcrypt library of JavaScript so that no one can access the password even through the database. I would also like to discuss about the challenges that we faced during the project. So initially we started working with MySQL database, and as we created more and more tables, it was difficult for us to maintain the relationship between the tables in MySQL database. So we switched all our tables to MongoDB with all the values again. And also initially it was difficult to write all the static data and store it in the database manually. So we created some Python scripts which fetches all the data from any website and stores it in the database in a table format. And apart from this, another challenge was to integrate all the code, because we were 3 members in the group and all 3 of us were working on front end and back end simultaneously. So it was a bit a challenge to integrate all the code. I would also like to discuss the special features of this project. So displaying the data and creating the static pages was not a difficult task. The difficult task and the most challenging part, I would say, was to maintain a session from sign in to sign out, because anyone can copy the URL and paste it in any browser, and it should redirect the user to first log in and then he can access the information. So this was overall our project, GradFor. Thank you.